So good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to our today's event on digital transformation of CPG enterprises. My name is Akanksha Mahajan. I am Director Research with India Infrastructure. We are publishers of 6 magazines, of which Indian Infrastructure is one, and of course, Tele.net is another. And over time, besides focusing on physical aspects of infrastructure development for nation building, we've also taken up a lot of, digital and IT-related initiatives, which are now driving infrastructure sector in terms of productivity, efficiency, and digitalization is actually paving the way for successful implementation of many projects. Very happy to announce that we have, a very eminent speaker panel here with us who will be sharing their views on digitalization aspect of CPG enterprises in general, and how they've been able to transform the digital journey of organizations that they are currently associated with or have been associated with in the past. I have a very short presentation about 2-3 slides setting the context as to why we are all together here. After that, the structure of this event is going to be such that we'll have a short presentation by Mr. Vivek from Belden, and that is going to be followed by a moderated panel discussion amongst all our panelists. I will be moderating this discussion along with my colleague Singh, who is Associate Director with the firm, and she actually looks after the editorial operations of Tele.net magazine. Without much ado, we are now ready to start this webinar. We can move to the next slide. Can we move to the next slide, please? So just to give you a little perspective, digitalization of manufacturing operations has become paramount to usher in the next era of connectivity in the CPG space. Manufacturers are looking to connect their factories to digitize operations and benefit from efficiencies, automation, and increased uptime that those operations promise. New and innovative solutions can help in establishing end-to-end network backbone within the factory. Further, big data and machine learning tools can also be used to digitalize assets, have a better visibility in those assets, workflows, and schedules, and to improve overall equipment effectiveness and productivity. The mission of this webinar today is to discuss the deployment and potential of cutting-edge technology solutions to embrace digitization and usher in automation in CPG manufacturing. As I told you that we have an eminent panel here, and during the course of the event, we aim to have responses to questions or topics like what is the level of digital maturity among CPG enterprises, what are the key challenges faced during digitalization of manufacturing, what role can connected plants play in the CPG space, and what are the key benefits, or what are the challenges that a company typically faces when they plan to take this route. What are your views on innovative solutions of improving overall equipment effectiveness and asset digitization, and how can the uncertainties and risks associated with building a connected plant can be minimized? Very happy to announce that this event has been made possible in support from Belden. They are the sponsors for the event, and we are extremely thankful to them. If you can stop sharing your screen, I'm going to now request Mr. Vivek Kumar to share his screen, who will be presenting about Belden's journey and give you key insights into digitalization in the CPG space. Before I request Mr. Kumar to make his presentation, I'm just going to take about 20 seconds to introduce him to our audience here. Mr. Kumar is Solution Consultant Manager, Industrial Automation Solutions, Belden. He is an industrial automation solution consultant with expertise in designing and implementing automation solutions for manufacturing processes and mass transit vertical. He comes with close to 2 decades of experience in the field of automation and is committed to optimizing productivity, reducing downtime, and enhancing operational efficiency through the application of advanced automation technologies, engineering management, and also providing best solutions. He, in his current capacity, is leading the Indian solution consultant team at Belden. In the past, he's been associated with organizations like ITI Limited, Siemens, Hitachi, L&T, and Sistra. and has been involved in several key large infrastructure projects. Welcome, Mr. Kumar. May I please request you to make your presentation?
Yes, thanks, Akansha, for introduction. Just let me know if my presentation is visible.
Sir, it's visible. If you can just put it on the full screen mode.
Yeah, it's visible.
It's visible? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for joining this webinar. So just I will cover a short presentation. Will take you the digital transformation of CPG industry, what are the challenges CPG industry facing at this moment, and how they can improve the OE for their effectiveness. Before going to the current scenario, we will just revamp it how the industry revolution has been done. So starting with the industry 1.0, which is an late 18th century and early 19th century, which are majorly transferred to the mechanization and a steam engine and steam kind of thing, or like a industry, cotton industry, another thing which is under the industry 1.0. Then we move for the industry 2.0, where we use electrical power to convert it. Then slowly they move to the industry 3.0 and early 20th century, where more with respect to the electronic connectivities, computer and automation come to the play the role for the industrial revolution. And at this today, we are in the industry 4.0, where a connected plant, a cyber and physical system, IoT and other will play a vital role to increase the productivity and other things. So this is just initial how the industry transitions from the industry 1.0 to the 4.0. And how Belden can and what is Belden is doing presently. So we will.
Vivek, may I interrupt you? Can you switch on to the presentation mode, please?
It is not in the presentation mode.
No, it is not.
Mode. It's showing in the presentation mode. Just let me reshare it. It is showing into the presentation mode only to me.
Screen that is being shared is your notes and
no.
Still not there.
It's still not there. Just give me a second.
You can see your notes. So you're okay with that, you can still visible. Yeah, this is correct.
Yeah, now it's better. Yeah.
Just give me a second, but it's not so. Now it's visible?
Yeah, I can see it.
So it's perfect. Okay. So just we cover how the industry evolution is done from the industry 1.0 to 4.0 and how the Belden are in which space Belden is working. So Belden is one of the industry which is very much present and supporting the foundation of the digital world. And we understand the importance of unified infrastructure and increasing the digital and data dependent world. We are a trusted partner ready to deliver and globally scale and strategic market. We serve industry automation like industrial automation, industry and smart and broadband and 5G. So this is our purpose. What is the Belden purpose to deliver the digital world in this? And if you see the presence of the Belden, there's no industry that has Belden is untouched. If you see this presentation, we are very much present with respect to the customer product, energy, healthcare, warehouse, mass transit, and all the industry which is there is interesting. And every day your network are becoming a more complex, more demanding, and more data dependent. We need a network solution that bring it all together, unifying data and making it more meaningful. We have the solution and expertise to make this possible across our key verticals and enable digitalization. So we segregated all into the key vertical, like a discrete automation, the discrete manufacturing, just like a customer CPG, automatic, robotic, and machine building fall under the discrete automation. Then we have the process like a water, wastewater, chemical, and oil gas fall under the process. Then we have energy like a Transco and Genco company where we provide our solution to them. Then we have a mass transit like a metro, railway traffic, ITS, ITC. So we are very strongly present and provide the technology to automate the train operations. We are uniquely positioned in the market to address the complete IT/OT convergence. If you see, we have a product line and the solution for each and every labels, all the solutions starting from the field label to management label, then starting from your soft floor to a cloud solution. So this is all about the Belden, and then we can move to the customer CPG industry and what is the major problem, what is the operational challenge faced by the CPG industry, and how the overall performance of the equipments are not meeting this one. So what are the problem area and how the overall equipment effectiveness are not as per the design or as per the commission one. If you follow the waterfall, the operational performance is critical to the CPG industry. A typical CPG operate only up to 70 to 75 of overall equipment effectiveness. If you see, they face the major challenge, like they have multiple SKU, there's a unpredictable downtime, there will be a breakdown, there's a changeover, cleaning, that all are contributing to reduce your OEE. And what is the target total production cycle? You effectively you'll get only 70-75% to get it delivered. That is means even you have your machine and everything is capable, they're still not able to deliver the 100% of throughput. So Belden. So how Belden? So this problem we generally categorize with the three themes. One theme is connected plan. The connected plan will give you us by connecting a sensor, your worker, machine, etc., and give you the real insight and advise how the plan can, when you have a monitoring, you have a diagnostic, something like that. Then a second category is called predictive maintenance, because unpredicted downtimes or a corrective maintenance will lead to a delay in the production and losses in the revenue, etc. So a system will design, can diagnose, and can monitor and will give you the predictive maintenance cycles to operation. Short
Vivek,
duration. Yeah.
can you be please louder? There is a message in the chat box.
Hello. Just my headphone. Just give me a second. My head.
Yeah, please.
Mr. Gokhale, I think it's
audible to me perfectly.
Yes, I think it's an individual specific issue with their bandwidth, maybe because I checked with
Possibly.
others and Mr. Kumar is audible. Mr. Kumar, please go ahead. Mr. Kumar, now we can't hear you. Yes, if you could just say a few words.
Hello.
Yes,
I'm audible.
yes, so you're audible. Yeah.
Maybe it's an issue with my headphone. So I'm just saying that how we categorize in the different three themes, and the themes are related to the connected plan, predictive maintenance, and production schedule and optimization. Under connected plan, you will get the more real-time insight with respect to your machine, with respect to your worker, throughput, etc. Thus, in the predictive maintenance, you will reduce the downtime by understanding the pattern of the failure, and you reduce maintainability activity can be adaptive kind of thing. And the production schedule optimization is like you have it will be optimized with respect to depends upon your demands, like sequencing of your SKU, reducing the waste, planning the new SKU, something. So that will affect you the overall productivity. If you see how these three themes will address the problems under the CPG and what are the possible solutions and how it will be improved in the OE, then my next slide will. Yeah. So my next slide will talk about the how solution theme unlock the potential with the CPG. As we mentioned, the connected plant, a machine or workflow, it will optimize. In this process, the data will be collected starting from your shop floor. A sensor, a small temperature or pressure sensor can give the data. And you can run the advanced analytic to analyze the data, machine parameters, etc. about the operators. That will also give you the operator, you can make a more decision based on the workflow optimization. it will impact overall OE of 6 to 7%, or sometimes 7 to 10%. The predictive maintenance is something it will avoid, you reduce your downtime during the equipment. It's based on the sensor, the failure will be predicted, and the downtime can be planned to reduce the downtime. So that is further increase your OE with the 3 to 4%. And the production schedule and optimization is the one of the best suits with respect to the CPG, because CPG having multiple SKU and the changing of line should be planned with respect to the demands and stuff. So based on the sensor, you can plan the production cycle, and that can further increase the 6 to 9%. If you see the 16 to 23% of your OE will be implemented if you digitalize your system, starting from soft flow to predictive maintenance. And these are the challenges which CPG and how we do this one. If you will, we categorize this particular with respect to the 5 state of operational excellence. That is called one of the pre-ingestion and the post-ingestion. Pre-ingestion, we say digitize. Digitize means we are connecting all the legacy device like your PFC, your sensor, your temperature sensor, which are very legacy. We digitize that thing and provide the connectivity. Then we start monitoring the thing. The monitoring, you will start getting the data from all the legacy devices, your network devices. In the monitoring, you will get all the data. Diagnostic, you will filter out that particular data and get the what is the problem, and you do the root analysis for that particular thing. Once you have a data, you can, in the better way, you can control, you can manage through the remotely, you can do the more with respect to the asset performance and everything. Once you have the complete data in a readable format, you can other run about the AI-driven orchestration, machine learning, etc. To take machine can take the decision to improve your efficiency. So we as in segregated a digitalization process in the 5 steps, starting from digitized to autonomous. How Belden will support all the 5 stages of journey. So Belden's customer innovation center provide the expert and support throughout the entire solution development lifecycle. This globally located hub. So we have 5 locations of CIC center, one out of in the Bangalore, which is coming in the September. This will be provide you the we are into the technical consultancy. We provide the POC. Your data can be tested before implementation at our validation lab. So these are the capabilities which Belden offer at this. If further, if you go the what type of supports are there? If you go, we have a Belden expert will be a trusted advisor for each step of your journey. Starting from solution account manager, the digital. So they are the partners or a buying journey. They will help you on the buying journey. Second is a digital automation. They are the industry expert. They are in-depth knowledge of your workflow assessment. What to do the Gamma walk. What are the problems you're facing at this moment? What are the things you can digitalize? How your e-logbook, e-digitalization can be done. They can guide on this one. Solution consultant who are deep knowledge with respect to the technical, they can design and provide the perfect solution. And service engineering who can deliver the solution and make it your journey successful. So this one. So that's all about my presentation. And if you have any query, we can discuss with that.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Well, we have about a couple of minutes for Q&A. I have requested everybody that in case they have some comment or question for you, they should put that or type that in chat in Q&A, and we should be able to take that. But before we take some questions from the audience, I have a couple of questions for you, sir. Mr. Kumar, what I want to understand is that what is your take in terms of, where the Indian CPG industry is at in the journey of, digitalization? I'm sure Belden is actually, involved with a lot of companies. So from your experience, what do you think that what is the level of maturity that, the Indian industry has at this point?
If you go all industry, all CPG with having some different, they having a different maturity levels. I cannot name the company, but if you assess it, all the industry will have a different level of maturity. Based on the maturity assessment, we do the maturity assessment, and then we can provide a custom-made solution for them. So each industry will having a different kind of challenge to address.
Right. And Mr. Kumar, if you could, you would want to point out some examples where you helped a particular organization in, helping them achieve their, digital targets. I'm not asking you to name those organizations, but if you could just talk about what was Belden's experience as to helping them, reach a certain level.
If you say many of the organization initially stage, some of the organizations generally they are in a silo in the nature.
Right.
Their chains and plants are not connected to each other.
Right.
If the effectiveness, suppose the process one having some issue, the process two need to wait till the process one need to be completed.
Right.
The process one cannot talk to the process two. Adaptive manufacturing cannot be done. So that is the major challenge to the solution, which is called digitizing and networking the solution. That is the first step of the journey, which
Right.
is a process from one talk to the process two, and can the decision when the process one shift to the process two. So it is called adaptive manufacturing. Each process will know their previous one. Second, also by collecting a data lake project, which collect all the data of plant, you will year on year, we analyze the data and how the performance will be improved and what are the sensors. And that can be monitored from your central level. Because if you go CPG, they having a multiple factory and the multiple location to address that. So they can have a single dashboard to see all the factories and other things, the performance.
Mr. Kumar, my colleague Kuhu also has a question for you. Kuhu, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Mr. Kumar, my question is, what kind of cost savings can the CPG organizations who would want to, digitize their operations or move towards a connected plant look at?
Because see, if you overall equipment effectiveness will be increased with the same set of your infrastructure will give you the enhancement to produce more productivity. It is directly linked with your production. Your production will increase with the X%, which overall you give it. You have a same operation cost, but you increase the production cycle. So that is the measure which industry 4.0 using more automated and more decision with a quick resolution in case of any failure, predictive maintenance kind of activity will improve the overall production cycle.
All right, Mr. Kumar, I'm just hoping that there are going to be more questions while the panel discussion is on. And, I would request you to stay on and we'll see if we can rope you in for a few answers as well. Well, with that, we are now ready to begin the panel discussion. We are also now joined by Dr. Parab. What I'm going to do is I'll take about, 30-35 seconds in introducing each of our panelists here today. And then we'll have a couple of questions for each one of them from me, and I would request all the attendees and delegates to keep typing in their questions, comments while the discussion is on, because that then helps us in taking the questions in real time. So to begin with, as I told you, we have a very eminent panel here with us. I'm just going to introduce them in alphabetical order of their names. So we have here with us Mr. Anup Daware, who is CTO, Hector Beverages. As a seasoned technology executive of 16 years of expertise, Mr. Daware specializes in strategic planning, systems architecture, and product development. His strengths lie in building business processes and systems from scratch, applying first principles, and bringing synergy by using innovative cloud-native platforms that are mobile-first, analytics embedded, and primed for AI/ML intervention. He currently, of course, serves as Chief Technology Officer at Hector Beverages, and in the past has also been associated with some significant stints at Marico and Persistent Systems. We also have on the panel with us Mr. Gokhale, Mr. Mahesh Gokhale, who is Solution Sales Director, DA India and SAARC region at Belden. Mr. Mahesh Gokhale comes with over 3 decades of experience in sales and marketing of industrial products and solutions. His key competencies include sales strategy formulation across geographies and market segments, new business entry and scaling up, handling large projects, customers, leading large teams, managing key accounts, P&L, product approvals from key entities, and channel management. In the past, Mr. Gokhale has been associated with organizations like Schneider Electric, Lab Cables, GE, and Crompton Greaves. Then we have with us here Mr. Prasad Natu, who is manufacturing IT head at L'Oreal. Mr. Natu is an IT professional with over 14 years in the manufacturing industry. He's currently working as the IT team leader at L'Oreal and has expertise in fields of IT project and change management, manufacturing IT systems, Oracle EBS, and IT application support. In the past, Mr. Natu has been associated with Mafoi Limited and Cummins Turbo Technologies. We also have with us Dr. Avadhut Parab, CIO Parle Agro Limited. Dr. Parab is an industry veteran with over 25 years of experience. He is a business strategist, technology enabler, a team companion, and a techno-functional digital CIO with experience in conceptualizing and delivering solutions across industry and business lines. His focus areas includes growth, operations excellence, innovation, enterprise transaction system, compliance, digital, and cybersecurity. He has a successful track record of creating robust IS strategy and bringing the benefits of IS to resolve business challenges while managing opportunities, costs, and risks. We also have with us Mr. Singh, Mr. Sandeep Singh from Havmor. He comes with a rich and varied experience of over 14 years. In his current role as AGMIT, he's helping Havmor leverage technology and drive various digital transformation initiatives. He has significantly transformed systems and processes at the company, making business teams more productive and data-driven, apart from leading the agenda for IT security, cloud, and outsourcing. In the past, Mr. Singh has been associated with organizations like L&T Power, Pipavav Shipyard, and Reliance Industries, to name a few. So very warm welcome to Mr. Daware, Mr. Gokhale, Mr. Natu, Dr. Parab, and Mr. Singh. Well, we are now ready to begin this discussion. Well, I'm going to have a common first question for everybody, and this is what we had also put in our email when we had invited you to join us, which is one, if you could talk broadly about in terms of digital maturity of CPG industries or organizations operating in the CPG space, and also specifically about where your organization is at in that journey, and what are you striving to achieve. So maybe we can start with Mr. Daware in alphabetical order only. Maybe in the next round of questions, I'll have somebody else take the first shot. Mr. Daware, please.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of digital maturity, CPG industries, and I believe we are talking specifically manufacturing here, but
Right.
in general speaking, when it comes to the marketing sales technologies, there I see that many companies have taken strides and the maturity level is quite high there. But when it comes to manufacturing setup, as far as my understanding goes and the companies that I have seen and the one that I work with, there is a long way to go. There is some investment that is happening. However, a lot that can be achieved in terms of connecting different plants these companies have, and even the machinery taking advantage of technologies such as 5G.
Right.
The adoption has just begun, in my opinion. Another thing very peculiar that happens in CPG industry is that actually, I'll talk about Marico and Hector. We look at ourselves as marketing and sales organizations primarily, and we optimize supply chain. Product manufacturing, some of it happens in-house, especially to ensure that we have a model that we can replicate with our third-party manufacturers, and we manage the quality. Right. So that is where then again some of the focus in terms of investments in the area of manufacturing then gets diverted to some of the other areas. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Daware, with those initial remarks, I'll now move on to Mr. Natu. But of course, we're going to come back with a lot more explanation on a few points from you during the course of this discussion. Mr. Natu, please go ahead.
Before we start talking about digital maturity, we need to understand that when we talk about digital transformation, it is also linked with the organization's ability to create the value through the digital transformation. Today, if we see at the CPG industry, we have to divide it into two areas. One is sales marketing and another is manufacturing. If you look at sales marketing, we are at the next level or at the matured level, and it has something to do with the COVID-19, because COVID has actually forced industries to adopt the digital strategy at more rapid pace. So that is one point. If you look at the manufacturing area, we are at the emerging level where we understood the need of the digitalization for our manufacturing. But we have just started that journey, and it will take some time to reach at that level. So that is the point of view what I have. And the other thing is, if we ask any business leader today, right, they would agree that the respective enterprises has made the investment in digital transformation. But very few of us would really say that we actually has returned the value what we desire. So that is something the industries need to look at.
Thank you, Mr. Natu. We're going to go to Dr. Parab next. Dr. Parab, your views, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for setting the context. Today, it's very important to see the organization from different pillars perspective, because everybody is not that things are not happening. Everybody is going with the culture of, looking into culture, the pace at which we can do. So we clearly are, or the whole CPG industry, I would say, if you divide into 3 or 4 typical pillars, one, definitely a growth pillar, which is more sales marketing. B, operation excellence, where we just had the presentation. C, transaction systems, because they need to be a foundation to my digital. And D part is innovation, where the R&D happens. So CPG industry largely is into a game of volume than value. So that's the fundamental backbone, and that is where whatever is the presentation, if you see, they have printed, brought in the waterfall diagram where they talk about from 100% availability, our OE is still 70. Even we increase that 70 to 75 or 73, 72, with a large volume can be addressed as a part of the demand. So with this as a context, the whole CPG industry, if you see, and this has been before the digital world has awakened, there has been extensive work, and it continues to do in the pillar of the growth, where when we are talking about, we do a lot of analytics, and for that matter, everybody does that. We also do all those predictive simulation, everything when it comes to growth side, and it will continue to do. Even yesterday, if you see, there was in Times of India, there was a small article on HUL, I think, right? They were talking about agile innovation as an hub, and there was quite a big article how they're going to view and how they're going to use the artificial intelligence. They coined as an agile innovation as a hub within which they are going to use the technology to increase our margin and all that. And this is where CPG industry now realize digital is a part of strategy, and it is no longer a strategy and digital. So this is a change which we are seeing. Having said this, we are in Parle, Agro, or any other company. Now we are also infusing a lot attention towards operation technology, which is operation efficiency pillar, where we see even we spike up some kind of small change where a volume can be addressed with the same capacity, same installed capacity, with playing around the data, playing around the process. It would be good business value. So these are the growth. And operation growth is already ahead of the curve. Operation excellence is waking up. We see the shop floor, top floor connectivity already happened. Lastly, transaction systems are matured. Everybody are either SAP or SAP or something, but we see a lot getting change also in the innovation pillar, where go to market, or how we can really make the turnaround time much shorter, whether it is an artwork, whether it is new product development or existing product. and we are seeing the unseasonal pattern which are coming. So we need to relook at the innovation. That is where our companies are relooking at the erstwhile model of business. How do a digital becomes a part of strategy, whether a new product, new market, whether it's a margin, whether it is a capital, invested capital on a capital invested, and of course we look at it as a existing product out. So we see everywhere the digital world is playing a role, and not as a technology. See, we are not bringing a technology for the sake of bringing a technology, or we bring a technology to bring a machine gun to kill a fly. That's not the one. But it really means today that you need to see whether if I invest X, whether it's going to get it 4x, 5x, and not after 2 years, 3 years. It has to see the light of the day in a quick term. So these are definitely opportunity, challenges, and this is the curve where it is heading towards. We see the changes which are happening in our thing. So the in last point where we always keep talking about people, process, technology, but in the digital world, it has moved this triangle to people set, skill set, and mindset. So these are the three very important part, and organizations are changing. So in short, this is what I have.
Thank you, Dr. Parab. I'll now move to Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, your thoughts, please. Mr. Singh, if you could unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening. So from the first presentation, we saw this industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So obviously, I believe there's a high level of maturity for the CPG enterprises in terms of adopting the digital solutions. I mean, there's no other way if we want to move in the right direction in, say, next 5 years or 10 years. So in the era of e-commerce, consumer personalization, online experience, and needing the agile and the competitive business model, adoption of digital is no more a choice. Just depending on the organization and the nature of the business, depth and breadth, that could differ.
Mr. Gokhale, you'll go in next, but I have a question for you, sir. So, listening to, you're actually a service or a technology provider to most of the organizations in the CPG space, helping them in their digital journey. You, of course, heard your peers here. My question to you specifically is that, and it's not only true for CPG industries, but across, a lot of industries where people talk about Industry 4.0, they talk about digital transformation, but they only, kind of touch it on periphery and are not really absorbing it in its truest form. So what is your take, there from a technology provider point of view in your conversations with, people in the industry?
Yeah, thanks, Akansha. Hope I'm audible.
Yes,
clear.
you are.
Yeah, just to touch upon briefly about the severity of or the importance of CPG industry before I answer your question.
Sure.
CPG is kind of a very competitive, extremely competitive segment. We all know the cases happened to one of the very prominent manufacturer of noodles few years back, and these are all very customers are very sensitive. Customers can switch on the brands, very fast, and the market at the same time is getting populated and saturated, and there is a mix of local and global players. So, given the severity of the CPG industry, which I see only next to the pharma industry, I found that there is definitely a great scope to for all these companies to adopt to Industry 4.0. And when we, in our last journey of last 2 years, when we have been transforming from a product company to a solution selling company, we see that these companies are typically only open to adopt this 4.0, for example, manufacturing practices in only certain segment of the organizations. From our point of view, wherein we are open to provide solutions across the CPG functions, be it manufacturing, be it quality control, be it inventory management, and so on. So we do not see that kind of easy acceptance from these companies to adopt to suggestions and solutions. And at the same time, what COVID has done to all of us is it has developed a extreme sense of hygiene in many customers. So and it has also forced industries to look inside, also rather than just outside. So with these expectations in consumer mind, I think CPG industry has a long way to go. And even in a couple of cases where we are working with a prominent MNC in this scenario, we could see that there is a lot of potential or a lot of solutions they are seeking from us as a solution provider. So that's
from my Thank you, Mr. Gokhale. Next, I would just be expecting, a brief outline from each of our speakers here in terms of where they can tell us that what are the current digital initiatives or technologies that they are adopting, in the manufacturing and supply chain space. And, if they are in the process of adopting something new or they are planning to adopt any new technology. But the idea is an outline of what their technology initiatives look like at this point in time. Maybe we can start with Mr. Natu this time. Mr. Natu, your thoughts, please.
The technology that we are adopting in our enterprise or in our organization is particularly we are focusing on more cobots or robotic solution where it can improve our operational efficiency. So one of the example that I would like to bring here is we have a operation called pelletization at the end of the line. So for pelletization, we have 2-3 members who are dedicated for the pelletization. But if we could use the robotic technology, we can if we could install some robots over there or cobots who can help us in pelletization, we can save the time, and also it will help to improve in the overall OEE. So that is one example. In the supply chain space, we are looking to install some drones, right, just to take the inventory count, because there are high reach areas where it is very difficult and time consuming for a person to go there and have the count. So if we can something do around with the drone technology, so that drone can go up, scan some QR codes, have that inventory count, and make it available in the system. So these are like a couple of examples that we are trying to do with in the manufacturing space, so that it could help us in improving the OEE and the overall operational efficiency.
Thank you, Mr. Natu. We're going to go to Dr. Parab next. Dr. Parab, what are the initiatives that Parle is basically, looking at, or technologies that the companies use?
We have largely focused on again the supply chain and the more on the growth pillar. Now, the objective is how do we, because this is a problem I'm sure every company has it. Beginning of the year, everybody has an annual business plan which is cited out, but that largely remains a static one, because from my business plan, my input goes to my manufacturing in a very controlled. Maybe we have a weekly sales closing, so every week we have an indent which is going, which is based on my business plan to go to this. But we have seen post-COVID or in the recent 2 years, lot many unseasonal pattern keep happening. So we see during the summer, which is a great season months for us, maybe 5-6 months, where 70% of your business comes from. Because of these rains, floods, unseasonal hailstorms and kind of thing, the sales this year, the beverage industry is hit badly. You see the ice cream industry, the Havmor person is also there, so they have been also hit badly. Even the white goods, they are also hit. So how do we make the annual business plan very, very dynamic? And that's where we are entering into machine learning models, which we are planning to do it, so that we use external data of weather, climate, and all which is available, and we can predict it much closer to what has to be really manufactured, what needs to get into the market, and so that we balance between the cost, the output, and the availability. So this is where I think we should hit the road maybe in next 2 months, the first POC across the pan India. So we are very close to what we are want to achieve it. We have been working on this for last 4-5 months now, trying different models, iterations, and then we see the technology is really addressing some of the unforeseen pattern rather. That's one. Two, we are looking at completely different idea where we have experimented a lot onto analytics layer where all the layers except the CEOs, MD, and the chairman, they never get the opportunity to really use the data layer of a company. And most of the time they have the lot of thoughts, the simulation of what company, where it want to go, and all kind of things. So their mind is always into a constant simulation mode. So how do we make this data layer available to them to try out the simulation? And that's where we are doing, whether it is a new product, whether it is new machine, whether it is expansion of the plant, or whether it's a multivariate problem which we are again solving using the that's where we are using SAC model, which is simulation engines. So again, this should hit the road another 2-3 months. We are very positive there. We got getting good results. So we're doing a lot onto the how do we really look at the manufacturing data to increase, as exactly said there, OEE, where can we change over time and the cleaning time, where even if we have identified that's the 2 areas, and that's where we are working on to get some input. We from the ABP, annual business plan, we are also moving to demand forecasting. So these are some 4 areas which we are focusing for this year to relook at the data-driven decisions.
We'll move on to Mr. Singh now. Mr. Singh, what is Havmor doing right now, and what is there on the cards?
Okay, so Havmor, we are more focusing on the supply chain this year. And we also have initiated the IoT pilot project in one of the factories in Ahmedabad, where people are getting the benefits of those 2 small pilots in terms of the OEE. And similar basis on that OE recovery, we are going to install that IoT sensors on, again, 7 more lines to get the machine effectiveness and the digitalization and the dashboard. Talking about the SCM initiatives, since we are into the cold chain business, so we have initiated a process of tracking the vehicles. So we have around 330 plus vehicles across pan India, and all those vehicles, either of them are hired or are them own vehicles. So each of the vehicles have got different, partners with a different temperature monitoring. Now, since it is paramount for the Havmor, so that the correct product reaches at the dealer location at the correct temperature, that is in minus 18 degrees centigrade, right? So we have initiated one of the process or say pilot with 2 or 3 vendors, where we are going to install the temperature sensors on few of the devices, a few of the transport vehicles, and basis that we are analyzing the entire data, where it gives the beautiful dashboard of the trip report, variation, deviances, and sort of things. Third important project which we are doing is for the improving the efficiency of our supply chain team. Now, there's one project called auto replenishment, where there's a 2 or 3 person in the supply chain. They, on daily basis, they generate the plan orders, which has to be dispatched to various CFE locations. So if I talk about the season, that is from the March to June, almost 5 to 6 persons are involved from morning 8 to till night on just generating those orders, planning those orders. So now we are doing one POC with one of the vendors, one of the partners, to how we can automate those tasks and give the ready-made input to their team so that their work-life balances gets improved. So these are the 3 major initiatives which we are taking up at Havmor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Singh. We're now going to go to Mr. Daware. Mr. Daware, your inputs regarding Hector's initiatives.
Sure, yeah. So a lot of focus this year again on the front end side of the business, where typically our thought process in terms of building the digital solutions is do not try to get a solution or try to force in your requirements into an end-to-end solution. Whichever solution is best suited for that particular problem, you adopt that solution and then integrate it with everything around it, right? And we do not shy away from building our own systems wherever required, coding it out, owning the entire platform as well. So that's where the focus always is. In terms of one of the major projects that we are initiating this year is the overall integrated planning, while demand forecasting is available in its own sense and some kind of production planning, procurement planning, everything happens in a siloed approach. What we want to achieve this year is to integrate all these processes together. Not sure about what solution is going to work, and we are right now working on checking if there is something that is available in the market that can solve this problem, or then we end up building our own solution, getting all the data that is relevant for making all the decisions into a platform and then running our own algorithms on top of that. It's quite open, but what we really want to achieve this year is to bring operational efficiency right from the demand forecasting and as some of the other esteemed panelists were talking about, the kind of seasonalities we have and the weather that is becoming more and more in terms of very difficult to predict the way the cycles are changing. It is imperative to be more agile, and one of the ways to do that is not to build these business plans that are very stringent or in a way coded in a way they cannot be changed, right? So that is where the overall planning cycle comes in the picture for us, and ensuring that if we change the inputs and parameters around the planning, the business teams, the leadership team who are taking decisions regarding these processes, they have a readily available output. If the parameters change, this is the output. So that's where we want to reach this year. Baby steps we're taking, but yeah, that's where a lot of focus when it comes to supply chain and process part is this year.
Thank you, Mr. Daware. The next topic that I would like to now pick on is actually about connected plants. And, I would want to hear about two things from all the gentlemen here today. One is that how are you perceiving connected plants or, connected plant technology for your operations, in terms of number one, what are the key benefits that, such a technology or a connected plant situation brings to an organization like yours? And two, are you adopting it in some way, or, where you are in terms of looking at adopting a connected plant scenario? So maybe this time we can actually start with Mr. Singh from Havmor. Mr. Singh, your turn.
Yeah, so for me, smart factory, connected factory are no buzzwords nowadays. With diverse setup at Havmor spanning multiple locations, connected plant plays actually a very key role. Now, basis on that, I visualize two major benefits which connected plant is going to give. First is the digitalization. This means eliminating all the paper-based different processes, capturing of the digital logs, which were used to happen at the factory, now is again, being derived by the IoT sensors, POC, which I spoke about, which is going on in the factory, is giving a very beautiful results. Second thing, enterprise systems, it will give us the visibility. In fact, it is giving us the visibility of the manufacturing operations across the locations. Now we have two locations. One is in Ahmedabad, one is going to come in Pune, and one is in Manfrozen, Faridabad. So by happen of this connected factory, connected technology, we are getting the visibility of the manufacturing operations, stock, and all the performance on a single dashboard. So that's the major benefit which we are deriving from this one.
Mm. Thank you, Mr. Singh. We would now maybe move to Dr. Parab. I see that his video is switched off. Dr. Parab, are you there? Maybe we can move on to Mr. Natu, and when Dr. Parab is back, we're going to seek his inputs on that. Yes, Mr. Natu, your views on what a connected plant should look like, and where L'Oreal is at in terms of embracing that technology.
Well, there are multiple benefits of connected plant. Every organization is now driving on that path. The first thing is it gives the real-time visibility of the manufacturing or in the supply chain space. Because with the volatile demand from the consumers, it is very important to have that visibility, real-time visibility of the overall inventory. So that is where it is helping us. The second thing is the predictive capabilities of the autonomous operation, which is very important. Detecting or proactively monitoring the machine's health, which is also one of the area where it can help. The other thing is the benchmarking and the standardization. Because so far, if we look at in the legacy world, each and every plant was operating on their own way. But now, with the help of connected plant, we can standardize the processes, standardize the system, which will boost the digital transformation.
We'll now move on to Mr. Sorry, Mr. Natu. I'm sorry. Did I cut you in between? Were you saying something?
No, I'm done.
All right. Okay. So we now are going to move to Mr. Daware. Mr. Daware, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, so I am here to hear more about connected plants. We do not do it, not on our agenda. Here to understand from other panelists and obviously from the sponsors themselves. So I would say that I know a bit more about connected plants than what I was knowing half an hour back. So happy to know that.
All right. I will, of course, give Mr. Gokhale an opportunity to elaborate on, what a connected plant is and how it can actually work wonders for your organization. But before that, I'm going to go to Dr. Parab once in case he's here. I could see his fleeting video in between. Dr. Parab, your views on, how do you perceive a connected plant and an organization like Parle? How are you using the connected plant technology?
Okay, for me, connected, I mean, it's a big topic, but it has to start with the low hanging. That's how I look at it. One, for me, connected plant is a data connectivity first. Whether what is happening at my shop floor can the top floor people can see it, because they can see a big picture. So we wanted to do that first, and that is where we have achieved it now. The second part of the connected plant is can I see what is happening in one plant, and as long as you have a more or less the similar kind of machines, same OEM and all, can you create a model of excellence in one plant, and can you replicate it into second one? So that's a second area. Third area which we are looking as a part of connected all connected plant is we are looking at our OEMs as a digital service provider. We want to optimize the overall operational cost or the service cost which they are putting it to us. So we already have connected all our plant to their digital hub. Let's say we are talking about Tetra, we're talking about SIGs of the world. So all those, so we started subscribing there, and critical process parameters which otherwise would bring some kind of hurdles to our operational efficiency is something we are getting them monitored by them. Advantage of that is, since to do this, they are collecting the data from they're streaming the data from our machines to their box. We also get a structured data out of it, and we measure some more parameters. So these are some of the areas which are looking. We are also doing a lot of experimentation now on IoT side, and we are focusing only on the rotary part of it, where there is a lot of acceleration, there is velocity, vibrations. So more looking from investment and getting a immediate benefit, show that value to the management that this is what we are getting, use the same value which we are from X, if we have got 4X, use that remaining 3X for investing into more. So we are going little, not taking a big steps where only the cost is seen and then you don't know what happens. That's all.
Thank you, Dr. Parab. Well, with all that information, now I'm going to move to Mr. Gokhale's direction. So, Mr. Gokhale, now you have a fair idea that how the industry perceives connected plant as a technology. So, number one, I need to ask you, do you think that this understanding is holistic, complete? Are there other dimensions, directions that should be added to this? You know, of course, your take on where the companies should actually be striving, you know, in terms of having a connected plant or a connected technology.
Yeah, thanks, Akansha. I find that connected plant is absolute important block builder of CPG 4.0 to say in short. And connected plant does not only mean connected machines, but connected workers as well, because it is so very important to have connected workers and machines for example, workflow optimization. And here the typical customer pain points could be, the instances of different micro steps being taken or incorrect. For example, I'm just referring to some few examples. It could be incorrect machine settings. It could be avoidance of scrap, or it could be avoidance of a wrong, workflow. It could be anything. And this can be addressed by equipping or upgrading the OT infrastructures. It could be different kind of sensors which collect data and feed to the, say, dashboards. It could be pressure sensors, flow sensors, and so on. And it could also provide the plant managers or operators to access to different dashboards, which are so very important for maintaining various parameters, which can give the root cause analysis of different problems. And based on our data and research, in this particular aspect of connected plant and workers, the OE impact alone can be anywhere between the 5 to 10%. So, that is the kind of potential the connected plant or connected workers has for adopting to CPG 4.0, so to say.
Thank you, Mr. Gokhale. Well, before I move on to the next question or topic that I would like to highlight, my request to all the attendees is that in case you have some questions, comments, feedback for our panelists here, please put it either in the chat box or in the Q&A box. Well, the next thing that, we would want all these gentlemen to actually talk about is challenges. And, Mr. Parab had just said that the organizations are making baby steps because, cost is a consideration. So the first question is that as CIOs or IT heads or, a function which may not be as, I would not want to say important, but maybe treated a little differently from a function which is a sales and marketing function, as Mr. Daware was speaking initially, that, more focus or more energy is kind of diverted there. How difficult or easy you think as CIOs or IT heads it is to convince the management to make that kind of investments, make that kind of expenditure to have state-of-the-art technologies? Maybe this time we can start with Mr. Daware again.
Oh, sure. So yeah, in terms of challenges, I think you have already touch based upon few of these. And another things like as the security situation and overall the framework already becoming complicated, more the number of endpoints you add, and with connected plants you add more endpoints, where then that kind of investment that you have to then have to safeguard all those endpoints, that again becomes one of the hurdles for implementing more digital solutions like 5G, where we have not tested the waters yet, and then to add more avenues for attackers then to again target us. That is one of the key challenges I see when we'll start adopting some of these technologies.
Right. So, Mr. Daware, also, if I may ask you, from your experience, do you think that the way the senior management is looking at, digitalization or IT, and in terms of the investments that they are now ready to park? I mean, you rightly highlighted the security and the kind of implications that it can have for a business. How has that changed, in time? Has it changed to your liking is what I want to understand.
It has, and I think in general, the business leaders have much better understanding of IT and opportunities that we present. That's for sure, and the environment is conducive for for these technologies as well, as long as we are able to present a business case, which then can start giving returns in next 2-3 years. That is where a lot of interest lies, if not immediate. But if you're talking about return on investment in 5 years, 6 years, that's something uh, becomes very difficult to justify then in terms of investments.
I'm going to go to Mr. Natu next. So, Mr. Natu, the kind of challenges that you face as an IT tutor.
I think the first thing is drafting a digital strategy is very important. We need to understand that it's a journey. A plant or organization which is not so digital and pursue to be digital. The first thing is we need to have the right skills. So I will just say, people. So identifying the people with the right skill, that is very important. And then digital needs to be a separate vertical in the organization structure. That is very important, because most of the time our senior management expects us to deliver the thing, which is not the case. It needs to be a separate vertical where 2 or 3 people or more than that, driving the digital strategy. That is very important. So people is first. Second is process. Because when we start a digital journey, we all look towards converting everything into digital, but we need to have a clear-cut roadmap and the right process. We need to consider in the scope of digital transformation. That is very important. And then the use of technology, the right use of technology, which is very important, because we end up using the wrong technology, which can have the adverse impact. So these are 3 aspects: people, having the right skill in the team, having a digitalization as a separate vertical, then identifying the right process for the digital transformation, and the third thing is the right technology. I will call it as a product, right product to be used for the digital transformation.
Okay. Well, I'll now move to Dr. Parab. And I remember, if I recall correctly, you also kind of touched upon how skill set, mindset of people is a very important pillar in, realizing your IT ambitions. So, Dr. Parab, if you could, just tell us about the kind of challenges you face as an IT leader and, things you would want to actually achieve for the organization, but for any reason you're not able to do that.
Okay, challenges, definitely people challenges is the biggest one today from all perspective, and whether it is the competency perspective, whether it is inertia perspective, whether it is embracing the new way of looking at it, and most importantly, relying the decision on the data. So that's where you will find the people dimensions, and naturally, if the people are taken into project without giving the some kind of leadership exposure or the business exposure, it would definitely come as one of the. This is where I think we also initially learned as out of our approach, and then we started changing our approach. That I think the exposure to the different stratas of the people from bottom of the pyramid to the peak is required, and we felt that, let's say, when you want to train the leadership, you can't have the training from a normal institute. So train those people from, let's say, IIMs or some good institute. When it comes to the business or the second tier of the people, where you feel that they are going to churn the data more, don't train them from, again, ordinary. Train them from good, could be IIT institute, or where they will really add a different dimension. And the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, you have many institutes. So give them a exposure before bringing a digital initiative. Otherwise, the resistance from them is very, very high, and you will never be successful. That's a people dimension out of it. And the process side is, you will always find when you try to rewire the process, that's where the major issue comes from. You know, you have to see the risk dimension and all kind of thing. I'll come back to the cost later, because why we are attacking this people which are tech people or tech part and the process part first, because that is where the business value is. If you see tech and process, if you intersect them, you have business value. And business value, if you start enlarging the business value, that's where the disruption can happen. And we are focusing there more. Coming back to the challenges, cost is definitely one of the area where you will always find more questions. But again, going back to the earlier pillar, when it comes to growth pillar, it is much easier to get it, because that's where it's a revenue recognition point any which way, and very easy to really, I would say, project the use case. Because there you get a good help of the business user, because they are used to presenting the case. So it's never that case. So, but when it comes to operation excellence and innovation and R&D, you will have a lot of tough time to get you convince the top management.
Right.
But of late, if you see, and why, I'll tell you why this is more important, because in any organization, you have typically 3 or 4 personas. One, definitely a corporate persona of the people. B, manufacturing persona for the company like us, which is manufacturing or R&D based manufacturing and distribution company. You will have one persona of R&D, one persona of the field people, one persona of the manufacturing, one persona of the let's say corporate. Now, when you do something on the field force, the cyber security investment is fairly flexible. It does not overshadows the overall investment. But if you want to do anything on the operation excellence or innovations, your cyber security cost is pretty high, because you are depending in a much better. So it is sizable. When such costs started seeing the dominance in the cost thing, that's where you will find a little bit of an issue, which you need to present it very differently, why it is required and what's kind of. So these are definitely a challenge. You need to present it a persona driven. It can't be just a classical way. And somebody said it about this, it has to be in line with the strategy, very clear, either it is new product, new market, margins, or it could be return on expenditure. So you'll have to tie up this. It's no longer, and digital is that way easy, because your input is the data. Your input is not a process. So these are the challenges are going to be there, but management also feels that, or organization also feels that for living you need to go with the digital. So that's my view.
Thank you, Dr. Parab. We're going to go to Mr. Singh now. So lots of challenges that your colleagues are facing, and now even you can probably share with us that what kind of challenges do you see in the way of digitalization for happening?
Sure. So Prasad and Avadhut sir touched upon a very critical point of that people, process, and technology. So we are similarly following the same process. People come first, then process, and last comes the technology. And basis on the blend, we again go for the process. Now, talking about the challenge, the important challenge which comes in the manufacturing industry is not manufacturing any of the industry, it's the change management. Now, if I talk about manufacturing, the degree of such challenge could be more due to the legacy systems. And second thing is fear of failure, right? Now, at Havmor, we have been driving numerous initiatives and have gone through such phases. However, going by my experience, I can say these initiatives or the challenges must be driven as a business initiatives. That Avadhut sir touched upon that point also, not as an IT project. These initiatives must be driven from the top with a key objective. Change management again is again we see people doing same thing and they are pretty happy in their comfort zone. Nobody wants to change the challenge status quo, right? Try different way of working, available skills, and again, people skilling, training of the existing skills is again one of the challenges what we have faced while driving these manufacturing initiatives.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Well, I'm going to go to Mr. Gokhale now. Mr. Gokhale, you've actually seen, and I'm sure you yourself are aware of a lot of challenges that an IT management typically faces. What are your thoughts around how a technology provider can actually come in and kind of assist them with a whole lot of, I would say, operational changes and not really, or maybe, also, sometimes the technology can be so compelling that it's much easier for them to actually go back to their senior management or the top level management and to convince them. So, Mr. Gokhale, your thoughts around this, and if you could also brief us a little more in terms of how Belden is particularly contributing in this space. I have one more question for you from the audience, but I'm going to come back to that a little later. So yes, Mr. Gokhale.
Okay, I think one of the major aspects Dr. Parab touched upon was cybersecurity.
Right.
Which is very, very important, because all the aspects arising out of connected things, connected machines, connected workers. So you have to have a very strong cybersecurity as well. So that is also a very integral part of CPG or Industry 4.0.
Right.
And as views expressed by the eminent speakers, it's all, I would say that it all is, the disruption is the norm for Industry 4.0 or CPG 4.0. So there would be, and they're going to be continuously upgrading systems, technologies, products, changing after every couple of years. So disruption is the norm. So we need to educate our workforce or the leadership in tune of this disruption. That's what I would like to put it.
Right. And even from a operational or a technology point of view, Mr. Gokhale, if you can talk a little about the kind of solutions or how Belden is able to incorporate that ease that an organization should be focusing on.
Sure. Here I would like to highlight a case without, of course, naming that customer. Right. So this was a global beverage manufacturer. Mm-hmm. And looking for connected plant solutions. Yeah. And what they wanted to achieve was, apart from connected plants, they were looking at IT and OT network segregation or segmentation. And then they were looking at connected machines and predictive maintenance, for example, remote management of the network, and increased productivity and safety. And they had their existing partners. For example, XYZ was there for cloud solutions. Yeah. Then for services, security, and remote connectivity, there was one. And of course, for post-ingestion and dashboards, there was another big conglomerate. So we are currently, it's an ongoing project. So what we are offering to them is, first, we did a Gemba walk across all their facilities. Mm-hmm. They have almost more than 27 plants across India. So we have completed initial assessment of 6 plants of theirs. And we are now working out with their existing partners and offering solutions. They will ultimately improve or give them the improvement in OE as well as ROI. Mm-hmm. So the case I wanted to highlight because this case tells about, in general, what solutions Belden can offer. And of course, going into the details, if we talk about, then we can offer the passive solutions, active products, cabling solutions. It could be Ethernet switches, firewalls, cables, and so on. So I can say that the scope of Belden, which goes into such projects, would be end-to-end. And from active solutions, active products to passive products as well.
So, Mr. Gokhale, just one question from me. So, when you are offering a solution to one of your partners, do you also kind of help them define their security strategy while deploying these solutions? I mean, how or are they responsible to kind of look after their security, requirements themselves?
Yeah, of course. I mean, depending on the digital maturity of certain clients, we do have those solutions and those products. For example, in one of the leading automotive manufacturers, they had they wanted to have IT/OT segregation because of the data sensitivity. So such projects and such products we do have, and we do offer solutions along with our system integrators.
All right. Actually, I had a couple of topics being given to me one-on-one, but I have tried to cover them, through the pointers that we've actually discussed. There was this one question around budgets, and I'm not sure if, gentlemen here are okay to share those numbers, but the question broadly would be that, as an organization, what kind of budget allocation do you typically see when it comes to, IT operations? And I leave the floor open if anybody would want to volunteer to kind of reply to this question. Dr. Parab, would you have a number or a figure or a percentage?
No, we won't be able to disclose that.
All right. I can see Mr. Daware has just put his video back. Mr. Daware, would you have a number to share there?
Yeah, I switched on the video to respectfully deny the request.
I think it will be difficult for anyone. I mean, it may not be the right way to put it on a web.
Right. So
it will be difficult and very relative also.
I'm sure. Yes. So that's, of course, depends on a number of factors. But moving on, we're just going to now go for a concluding round of, brief comments from all our speakers here, which is going to be that, of course, a lot of you have already elucidated on what are going to be your priorities in the next few months. But if I were to ask that as an organization, what are going to be your digital focus areas in the next, year or so, and if you could very briefly respond to that, maybe we can start with Mr. Singh this time. Mr. Singh.
So, as I mentioned earlier, it's about the overall IT focus or related to manufacturing only.
Right. You can actually, we would actually try to focus on manufacturing. Basically, the idea is CPG 4.0.
Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have three major focus points. One is the manufacturing, improve the efficiency of the machines by implementation of the IoT sensors at our floor, shop floor. Second is to revolutionize and increase the efficiency of our supply chain operations, which includes the cold chain monitoring. And third is the improve efficiency, or you can say work-life balance for our supply chain team using the process of automation. So these are the three major focus areas considering the manufacturing process.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Singh. I'm going to go to Dr. Parab next, but before I ask you for your focus area, sir, we have a question from Mr. Avdesh Yadav. He's actually asking issues regarding interoperability and standardization related to industry technologies.
I didn't interoperability. You're saying something, interoperability?
Interoperability and standardization related challenges that the industry faces.
Standardization, I mean, say, look at the organization. When you look at the digital part of it, is you first focus largely onto your own objective, what you want to achieve. Standardization today is there is interoperability. When you're looking at the multi-cloud option, yes, that's where you have to be very, very careful. Most of the emerging tech is anywhere you're going to do it on a cloud and not going to be on a now, just to address your question, the strategy which we are following is when, let's say, one of the hyperscaler, let's say take an example of A hyperscaler or B non-hyperscaler. When you're evaluating and trying to tie up with them, at that point itself, you also evaluate your plan B and keep it ready. In the event, if there is some issues, you should be able to interoperate. Now, to do this, if we try and opt more and more onto an open technology, largely. So by default, today the the world is moving towards it, whether it is a hyperscaler, non-hyperscaler, it becomes easy, and because everyone today harping on that as a cost efficiency and non-vendor lock approach. So you should have this strategy in place. Second part, when it comes to the interoperability, you always ensure that either you keep the DR or something, your some kind of DR onto the other hyperscaler or some kind of your on-premise, and don't keep everything both onto the same hyperscaler. So these are some of the areas I would advise, and standardization is still a difficult part because today's world move towards a choice of interoperability than the standardized, because hyper personalization is going to be a way forward. If that is the case, not many a time you will find the standardization is going to work for you, whether it is machine side or whether it is people side or the process side. And largely, you do not have a one, let's say one OEM where you're going to work with that. You may talk about you're going to have one service provider or partner who will provide you all the services, but it really doesn't happen. That's what we'll see. These are concepts which are good to achieve, but in the process of achieving the standardization, we lose what the objective we want to achieve. So that's my view. The answer may change after some years. We don't know if the things are better.
Thank you, Dr. Parab. And your concluding remarks in terms of what will be Parle's future focus areas, very briefly.
We do want to focus on our throughput, which is where how can we increase our OEE, where largely I did mention about availability of machine, because we are in the volume game than a value game. So every minute, or let's say if I have a PET filling capability of 800 bottles per minute, can I increase that to even a small amount percentage? So that will help me to. Our focus is process optimization at this, and the material movement which happens on the shop floor. How do I ensure the between my manufacturing to the warehouse? That's where I think we have a lot of scope and do a process optimization.
Thank you, Dr. Parab. I'll move to Mr. Daware now. So, Mr. Daware, your, what are going to be Hector's focus areas?
Firstly is to harness the investments that we have done so far in these areas, be it new ERP implementation, warehouse management systems, and order management systems that we have. Every system has their own journey, and to ensure that they're used and adapted in the right manner, because adoption thing is a challenge that everybody is trying to solve, ensuring that all your process owners they are aware of the capabilities of the solutions that are already with them before implementing the new solutions. So that is one part. And second is overall planning cycle. How do we make it seamless across all the departments? That is where our focus is this year. Yeah, happy to be here and hear about things that we don't know. What you don't know, you don't know. So yeah, thanks for having me here.
Thank you, Mr. Daware. Well, I'll now hand over the virtual mic to Mr. Natu. And Mr. Natu, your concluding remarks.
Yeah, so for our the focus is enabling organization with data-driven decision making, bring into more data analytics, give the provide more and more data to the organization, whether it is related to OEE or related to on-time delivery, if supply chain is concerned, on the inventory. So that is the focus area that we are driving through. And then on the automation side, if we can bring more efficiency into the business operation by putting in more solution, more automation in place. So these are the two focus areas for us.
Well, Mr. Gokhale, your concluding remarks in terms of what will be Belden's focus areas, of course, and also, what do you really think the industry should be thinking when they think about CPG 4.0?
I would say that to put it in the right perspective, by 2025, globally, we are expecting that 30% of our top line would be coming from solution selling rather than just selling products. So that is the potential and that is the direction towards which we are going in a very strong and structured manner. We are also coming up with a huge customer innovation center at Bangalore, and which is one of the only 5 such locations across the globe. So this tells the direction in which this CPG 4.0 or Industry 4.0 is going towards. And we are here to as a kind of a one-stop solutions, right from a connector to cable or from a firewall to a network switch. So we are just here to find out the right kind of solutions and improve the customer experience.
Thank you, Mr. Gokhale. Well, on that note, we are going to close this event. Thank you very much, Dr. Parab, Mr. Natu, Mr. Daware, Mr. Singh, and of course, Mr. Kumar and Mr. Gokhale for your time, for your consideration, for your support, and for being here with us today. I'm sure we are taking home, quality key takeaways from this organizations, and here is wishing you all gentlemen a very good luck in the digital transformation of CPG industry. Thank you so very much for being here with us today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all. And
Thank
thanks
you.
to all eminent
Thank
speakers.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.